People learn better, and they learn with energy, and they learn with vigour and with excitement and with passion when they know it makes a difference to their lives and their communities' lives. What we need to do is create spaces where people learn and have a great time learning.
As a person, the learning's made a lot of difference. Never thought I would get into university, so now getting into uni has made me realise that maybe I can keep going because I'm determined to do this.
I see a big difference in myself coming forward. It's like a big circle. The more you learn, the more confidence you get, the more you get to do things. It's a big circle.
Going down to the allotments has helped me within my recovery. It's given me more confidence and a reason and a purpose to get up for the day ahead.
It's not just horticulture, it just gives them that stepping stone for self-belief. They can go on and rebuild their lives.
Sounds really corny to say I love my job, but I do. People come in, they tell you about the change in them, they tell you about the impact on them, and you think, yeah, I did that. There's a laughter, there's a good feeling in the air, there's not a worry, there's not a depression, there's not a dark cloud. I can actually say that education has saved my life.
Learning is, I think, a very important part of life, and not necessarily just educationally, but learning about yourself and learning about people around you. I think anyone, doesn't matter if you're at university or out of education, you should always be learning something.
City Lit represents the best of Londoners. Our purpose is bringing people together to enrich lives through learning. At City Lit you can learn pretty much anything. We're constantly changing the curriculum to make sure it stays relevant and interesting.
The learning, all of it, everything has led me to where I am now. I'm on that path to where I want to be in my life and showing my children that we can learn and we can work together and get where we need to be.
The impact of investing in learning development within Keogh's has been phenomenal. The business has rapidly grown, and so with it our need to recruit talented individuals. We are committed as part of our culture to develop individuals for the future and for our future as a business.
I think I am a role model simply by being in education. I believe other care leavers can learn from my journey by just believing in themselves and getting out and doing it. Learning has given me the chance to grow as individuals and have aspirations for a brighter future. I feel that my self-esteem is restored and I'm confident I can do everything what I want.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our 2019 Festival of Learning Awards. My name is Stephen Evans. I'm the Chief Executive of the Learning and Work Institute. It's always a pleasure to host these awards and to run these awards each year. We've been doing that for more than 25 years, and this year's winners are no exception in being a group of inspirational learners, tutors, projects, colleges, providers, employers, and so much more. They're brilliant stories that I'm sure you'll enjoy throughout the afternoon. And I think one of the things that's important to me is the diversity of those taking part and winning awards and the diversity of the benefits of learning. Learning is good for jobs and careers and for employers, but also what you'll see through this afternoon is all of those wider benefits as well, whether it's to health or to well-being or to building communities or to active citizenship or to so much more. So this afternoon is about celebrating those stories, celebrating those winners. It's also about learning from each other. I was speaking to someone downstairs who said one of the benefits of things like this is seeing the stories, but also, and celebrating those, but also hearing about some of the experiences that people have had and hearing about some of the ways in which people have engaged with learning and then taking that back to your own organisation as well. So it's a great celebration today. Today is really always a highlight of the year for us at the Learning and Work Institute. Today's winners have been selected from literally hundreds of really high-quality nominations. A very tough set of decisions for our selection panel to select our winners. I think we probably had even more nominations for these awards than the Conservative Party had for its leadership election. And dare I say, it's a more inspirational group of people at the same time as well. If there are any government officials present, could you please ignore that last comment? But particularly if you're in any way responsible for our funding. So let's celebrate those winners. Let's take those stories back, and let's also make the case for lifelong learning when both within this room and when we leave this room as well. A couple of words just by way of starting as well. So we can't do these awards and the Festival of Learning on our own. So we're immensely grateful to all of the supporters and sponsors who helped to make days like today happen. And in particular, we're grateful to support from the Department for Education, NOCN, Skills and Education Group, the ETF, CityLit and the WEA, and lots of other partners that work with us on the Festival of Learning to make that happen too. If you've got your mobile phones with you, please make sure they are on silent. But if you're on Twitter, please do tweet away. I see several hands reaching for pockets now just to check their phones are on silent. That's good news. Please do tweet away using the hashtag FOL Awards. Last year, we managed to get trending on Twitter. I'd like us to do that again, so I need you to tweet away. And if anyone wants to speak to me afterwards and tell me what trending on Twitter means, then I'm available for some adult learning myself. Last point as well is, so we've got just over, I think, 120 people in this room, or whatever the maximum number is for fire regulations, I should say. But we're also streaming the award ceremony live on Facebook Live. We did that last year and we had about 800 people, I think, watching through Facebook. So hello to everybody who's watching on the internet. And when you come up to receive your awards in this room, please don't swear because you're live on the internet. Right, I think it's probably time to give out some awards, isn't it? Are we ready for that? Yes, good. I was slightly worried you'd be soporific after that immensely posh lunch we had downstairs, but you're all kind of ready to go. So good news. So we'll crack straight on. So the first award is our Patrons Award, and we're very lucky to have Her Royal Highness Princess Anne as our patron. She's been a long-standing advocate of lifelong learning. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here today, although I did notice a portrait of her just outside this room looking slightly stern, just in case I go off-piste at any point. But I'm really delighted that the chair of the Learning and Work Institute Board, Maggie Galliers, is here to give out that first Patrons Award.
Hello, everyone. It really is a privilege to be representing our patron here today and to be presenting this award. As Stephen said, we're extremely fortunate at the Learning and Work Institute to have the Princess Royal as our patron. And we have a long-standing relationship with Her Royal Highness that dates back over 10 years. And during those 10 years, we've benefited not just from her support for the work that we already do, but for her challenge to reach even further and push even harder towards our vision of a prosperous and fair society in which learning and work provide opportunities for everyone to achieve their potential. For example, earlier this year, she met with a group of young people facing barriers to learning and work and spoke to an invited audience of stakeholders and at an event linked to the Learning and Work Institute's Youth Commission. Through this commission, we are exploring how education and employment prospects for young people differ across the country, the likely impact of changes in policy in the labour market, and how we might ensure all young people have access to high-quality opportunities, an area which she herself has highlighted as an important issue for our country. And the winner of our Patrons Award who has been personally selected by Her Royal Highness, is a wonderful example of someone who did not appear to have much in the way of education and employment prospects in his life, who struggled to find his place in the world after a difficult start, but who has worked hard to get into university, where he has been unlocking confidence, creativity and determination that even he never knew was there. Just listen to the story of Michael Shaquille.
I was in care from 3 months old up until I was 16 years old. I've been in 32 foster homes, 6 kids' homes throughout that 16-year period. There's things that impact you, I think, emotionally, not necessarily just physically, and things stick with you.
He had a very disrupted education right through primary and secondary school, which is one of the reasons why quite often we see care leavers come to university a little bit later in life.
I went to see my family for the first time in quite a few years, and my dad actually told me he was at university, and I didn't realise that you could be old and go to university. I just thought, right, these are stages you have to go through in your life, and then you finish at whatever age, and then you can't go again. And then he went to night school at Birkbeck, and I was like, okay, so I can get into university, he can do it, I can do it. And I did it, and I'm here. When I started university initially, I was quite excited because it was something that I've always wanted to do, get a degree. My degree was a stepping stone to be able to go into my master's of products and furniture design because I make bespoke furniture. I learned a lot about myself. My confidence got up a lot because I had to do talks in front of a lot of people. I've networked with a lot more people now as well, and it's opened a lot more doors as to what I could potentially do once I finish my degree fully, and then I can hopefully end up having my own business.
In the 4 years that I've known Michael, he's completely changed. He's just seized every opportunity that we've thrown at him. And we've had some bumps along the way, academically, personally, financially, but he has responded to the help that we've offered him and flourished.
I've learned from these things, whereas a lot of people that I know have kind of maybe made it impact their life in a negative way, whereas I've learned from things and I've managed to get onto higher education and hopefully get my degree. There's a lot of people in care that don't get this opportunity that I've got. Care leavers, whether you're mature or not, should definitely seek more education because we're like stereotyped as not moving forward. If they can get the help they need to get into education, then they should definitely go for it. Learning is, I think, a very important part of life, and not necessarily just educationally, but learning about yourself and learning about people around you. I think anyone, doesn't matter if you're at university or out of education, you should always be learning something.
So we'll have to now.
Oh, you're taking photos.
Over here? So, Michael, what a great story to start off our awards. I know, because I spoke to you over the lunchtime, that you've now completed your degree and done very well. And I think we're all interested to know what next. What's next on your learning journey?
Well, as you saw in the video, I make bespoke furniture. I've now started my own business called Design by Shaquille on Instagram, if anyone wants to follow, it'd be great.
I encouraged him to do that.
I basically make furniture, tables mainly, that then can be put on the wall when you're not needing them. So that's what my new business is going to be.
Fantastic. Thank you so much and very well done. Very well received.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Maggie, and many congratulations to Michael as well, and a good plug for Instagram there as well. So please do go and check that out later on after this. Concentrate on this first. Right, so our next two awards are all about the power of learning to help people at work and to help employers as well. There are so many benefits to learning for work and for careers and for employers and for productivity as well. And I think these next two awards help to exemplify that. We're really pleased that they're sponsored by NOCN, who have been long-standing friends of the Learning and Work Institute, as well as doing lots of great work. And so here to introduce both of those awards and to present those awards is Mark Buckton, who is the Executive Director of Job Cards and Services at NOCN. So please welcome Mark.
Good afternoon. I'm particularly pleased to be here because earlier on during lunch I managed to meet a couple of people and get their stories, and you realise that a lot of the products that we offer, things like access to HE and the more English and maths that we do, is really important to people's lives, and we can really get them to where they want to be and get them into work. NOCN have a huge range of products that are all, as an educational charity, about getting people into work and getting people the qualifications and tickets and training they need to get into the workplace. It's absolutely wonderful to meet the output of that. So it's really, really pleased. I don't know whether you know, but NOCN offers not only access to HE qualifications, we also do kind of normal MVQs and training qualifications. We're moving now into the new government apprenticeships, which is really exciting because hopefully we'll be able to get more young people into jobs and into work that way. And then finally, we're moving into construction competency cards, an area that I'm construction training, an area that I'm really passionate about, is competency cards, so that actually people can be able to move around the workplace more easily. But enough about NOCN. I think we're now going to go on to the next video, which is about Emma.
My main reason for returning to learning is because I needed to be able to get on the ladder to be a paramedic. My father passed away when I was 12. I couldn't do much about it at the time because I was only a child, and I felt that to be a paramedic enabled me to go out there and help people when I couldn't help him. So I've done my GCSEs and then I went on to do the Access course, higher education, to be able to get to university to become a paramedic. I didn't have much confidence in myself. I suffer with dyslexia as well, which came out whilst I was learning at college. The support of family and friends around me, and also the lecturers at Petrop College, is what's got me to where I am now. Now I'm at university. This is my first year as a student paramedic to get me to be a qualified paramedic at the end of the 3 years.
Emma's had an ambition to be a paramedic since she was a child. I think she often thought it was an unachievable ambition. Her determination to learn has meant that she's well on her way to achieving that. Just to have that determination to achieve your goal is massively impressive.
Volunteering as a community first responder gave me an insight to the job and what it might entail. It gave me more confidence in respect of knowing that this is what I want to do. Being out on the road, I learn a lot more than in a classroom, only because of me being practical.
It just gives you that more confidence again to say, well, you can do the job. As a person, the learning's made a lot of difference. I am starting to come out of my shell a bit from where I was from the beginning. My little boy, he's 7 and he's very proud of me in regards to being a paramedic, and it's actually inspired him to want to be a paramedic. Never thought I'd get into university, so now getting into uni has made me realise that maybe I can keep going because I'm determined to do this.
So Emma, what would you say to someone who needs to return to learning in order to pursue their dream career?
No matter what gets in your way in life, just believe in yourself, because it is possible and I'm proof of it.
And we've now got the video for Keogh's law firm.
Keogh's is a national-based law firm based in Bolton. We've always been committed to growing our talent. It's part of our culture. Everybody has a talent plan and we develop people to the best of their ability. People have the opportunity to grow their legal knowledge through our legal academy. They also are able to gain professional qualifications and they have access to further education sponsorship that may not be in a legal profession. Our apprenticeship programmes predominantly are developing people into our paralegal apprenticeship academy, but we also have apprentices in HR. We're developing our apprentice scheme to cover IT in the future, and we also have our level 7 legal apprenticeship programme for people wanting to develop to be a qualified lawyer. In the local community, Keogh's offers a number of opportunities. We do this via career events, mentoring programmes and work experience opportunities. Working together with Bolton Council and Bolton College, we embarked on our sector-based work academy, aiming to recruit long-term unemployed people into the legal profession.
They've actually come out seeking local learning partnerships to grow the workforce, to give people an opportunity. They work really hard to recruit and train local people, and once they're employed, they provide some really amazing development opportunities. What they've realised is that by widening the pool of recruitment to local people that need an opportunity, they're investing in homegrown talent.
I found out about the employability course through the job centre. It sounds really cheesy, but from that day on my life just changed. The training I received in Keogh's helped me so much. I've flourished, I've been invested in, and I've had fantastic
Over 200 people have been promoted within our organisation over the last 12 months, and at any moment in time, at least 80 people are going through professional skills qualifications. The impact of investing in learning development within Keogh's has been phenomenal. The business has rapidly grown, and so with it our need to recruit talented individuals. We are committed as part of our culture to develop individuals for the future and for our future as a business.
I don't really know who to ask this to, but how important is investment and learning and development to the success of the business?
Keogh's being a people-centred business, investing in leadership and development and also lifelong learning is really important to us. Great things happen in businesses, not just down to the efforts of one person, but the efforts of a team of people, and that's really important to us to develop people for our future. You're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to achieve great things and aim high. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and congratulations to all of our award winners there. Great examples and great stories, and quite right to celebrate their achievements. Our next award is the Learning for Health Award. This is, I think, the second year that we've had this award category, and last year marked the 70th birthday of our National Health Service. And the challenges that we face in the 21st century for health and well-being are very different to when the NHS was originally founded. And we know that learning can make a really big difference to people's health and to well-being. And we think that learning needs to play a much bigger role in the health services of the 21st century to tackle those big challenges. So I should do a slightly shameless plug for our publication from last year, which was called Healthy, Wealthy and Wise, which is 3 things we can all aim for. Get 1 out of 3, you'll be happy with that. But that really set out the evidence for why learning can make a difference to people's health and well-being, and the role that it can play as part of our National Health Service running forward. And I think this year's Learning for Health winner is a brilliant example of that. You'll see in the video in a moment how that journey into adult education led on to so many other things. And I do think it doesn't matter if you don't necessarily know exactly where you want to end up. It matters that you take the first step and see where it leads you. And this story will help to illustrate that very well, I think. And so we'll watch Marie's video.
My life before education, I was stuck in a bedroom for almost 3 years. I was frightened to go out of the house. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I went to the doctors who had referred me to Like Minds. The doctor thought that by doing a course doing pottery would help me to meet others in similar situation and circumstances to myself, meet new people and get me out of the house.
Marie's motivation was to improve her own life, to learn new skills, to better her own circumstances. She's gone from someone who couldn't leave the house to someone who is now thinking about her future.
It helped me so much by meeting new people on the course and made me overcome my fears of being around people. Towards the end of the course, I got anxious knowing that this is coming to an end and I didn't want to be stuck in the house and refer back to my old self. I wanted to be this new person who had something to look forward to. I'd asked if there was a course that I could enrol on, and I did. I enrolled on the Access course to lead me on to university. Education, and especially doing the art, it's actually opened my eyes and my mind to my whole world. You look at the world in a totally different way. There's a laughter, there's a good feeling in the air. There's not a worry, there's not a depression, there's not a dark cloud. My daughter, she's seen me on my journey and has said that she wants to now go into university as well.
Marie is such a strong person. She has shown amazing determination to fulfil a dream, and that's really important.
The Like Minds course and Adult Education Wolverhampton and Wolverhampton University, they've all given me a chance to shine. I would encourage others to go through education as a way of helping themselves. I can't actually say that education has saved my life.
Huge congratulations to Marie. A truly inspiring story, as I'm sure you'll agree from the video there. So we're going to, all of our awards so far have been focused around individuals and employers as well. So we're going to change tack slightly for the next one, because you can't have good learning provision without good tutors, and we all know the difference that tutors can make to people's learning experiences and to people's lives, and great learning, great teaching, and also going above and beyond. And the next award is all about that inspirational tutor, something that we think is really important. And we're really pleased that this award is sponsored by the ETF, who do such great work helping the workforce in further education. And so to introduce this award and present it, I'm going to ask Kerry-Ann Ayres, who's the Head of Technical Education at the ETF, to come up and present that award.
Okay, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today at the Festival Learning Awards ceremony to recognise and celebrate the exceptional achievements of individuals and to present the Tutors Award on behalf of the Education and Training Foundation. The Education and Training Foundation works with leaders, managers, tutors, teachers and employers to support excellence in education and training, supporting the professional learning and development of individuals in a diverse range of further education settings, so that they in turn can support the learning opportunities of their learners. Tutors and teachers, as we all know, provide the inspiration and support for individuals to progress to higher levels of study and employment, realising and achieving their personal targets and goals. and often this is in the face of many personal challenges. Today we're here to celebrate an inspirational tutor, Fiona Pickett, who has overcome a personal challenge to be a role model to her students, to her fellow teachers and tutors, to employers and community, people within her community. And the head teacher said of her that Fiona's teaching is outstanding and the impact on her learners is exceptional. The classes that she provides are a lifeline to many who would otherwise struggle to cope. Let's take a look at Fiona's story.
I trained to be a secondary school teacher. I did English and drama. Once the hearing loss came on, I developed a hearing loss. It became much more difficult. So I was struggling at work and I went off to a lip reading class at the City Lit. I realised when I was attending the class that I was watching the tutor and spotting the techniques that she was using, techniques that I'd been trained to do. And so that's how I started training. Switched career. I teach advanced lip reading classes. I write lessons every week, and that can sound onerous, but actually that's really creative and interesting.
One of the standout things about Fiona is her incredible creativity when she's writing lesson material. There's no manual of lessons for teaching lip reading, and you have to make up fresh material every week. She shares her ideas and her lesson material with other teachers across the country. I think she's really regarded as the standard to aim for. Fiona's very active in attending conferences that are run by our professional association. She attends regional meetings of lip reading teachers. She's constantly updating her skills and reflecting on her own teaching methods. She makes the lessons very interesting, and she has the ability to laugh at herself. She's got the ability to make our classroom a safe haven, makes us feel safe to be able to open up and say where we have problems.
Changes in students can be apparent from the very first lesson. You can see it in their demeanour. They walk into the classroom and realise that everybody in that room understands what they're going through, including the tutor. I teach on the lip reading teacher training course, so we have people who come in who want to be teachers. Often their background is very similar to mine. They might already be teachers who can no longer do what they trained to do, but they can train to do something else. Sounds really corny to say I love my job, but I do. People come in, they tell you about the change in them, they tell you about the impact on them, and you think, yeah, I did that.
Congratulations. Thank you. And as a lip reading tutor, could you tell me what has been your most important personal learning experience?
I think there are possibly two. The very first time I attended a lip reading class as a student, which immediately raised my self-esteem because I thought, oh, I can do this.
And then I realised that being deaf isn't a barrier to becoming a lip reading tutor. It's actually a positive, because you and your students are in the same boat and you're working together, taking part in life again.
Thank you. Could I propose you?
Right. Just before I introduce the next award, so I can see lots of you have been tweeting away, but we have not quite yet made it onto the trending list. So please do tweet away using, what was it? Hashtag FOL Awards. Yeah, I'm getting nods from the back. That's good. So please do tweet away using that. So our next award is the English Language Learning Award. And to introduce and present this, I'd like to welcome back to the stage Maggie Galliers.
The winner of the English Language Learning Award is truly inspirational. When you're on the panel judging these awards, it can be a really difficult task to pick just one winner out of so many worthy entries. And from the plethora of amazing accounts of the journeys of the learners up for this award, we found that there was one really outstanding story, that of Xiong Chuaz. Brought up in a traditional Chinese family in Malaysia and educated in a school which did not teach English, Xiong never imagined that she would have a second chance to better her education. But she found the courage to enrol on a Level 1 ESOL class at Education Wolverhampton and embark on a learning journey that has transformed her life and the lives of others. After you've seen the film that follows this, you will be in no doubt about her resilience and determination. Progressing through Level 2 English and onto a GCSE bridging course, she has become so confident in her abilities that she interprets for friends at hospital appointments, has joined the school PTA, and is proud to be a good role model for her daughters. Just watch this.
Before joining adult education, I'm not able to speak English in a day-to-day life. I feel frustrated and confused. It's hard to communicate with children, especially their homework. They ask me, I say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't see the brightness in front of my life. I feel so dark. I don't have the friend at all the while I have to stay at home. I have never imagined that I would have a second chance to better my education until I found to enroll on the English class at Level 1 ESOL. Learning made me feel more happy, enjoying. I see different people, different culture, then we can talk many hours. I want to study, I want to know more people. I want to prove that I'm capable and strong and determined. Then I can do whatever I can. I'm one of the PTA in my daughter's school. My daughters, especially when they are reading, they'll say, oh mom, but I'm not understand how to pronounce this word. What's the meaning of it? I will try to explain it to them. Learning is not only helping my family, but it's also helping my friends as well. Most of them is from China. They do not understand English. Every time they're struggling how to make an appointment with GP appointment or hospital appointment, I will attend with them, interpret for them.
She is far more confident. She's far more independent. She feels more at ease at being able to deal with her children. out in the community. She's supporting our ESOL community provision on the Talk English project. And I think one of the biggest impacts that Seong certainly has had is on us as an adult education service. What Seong has shown to me is that by taking those steps and having the courage, it can have not just an impact on an individual's life, but it can have an impact on a society.
Learning has given me the chance to grow as individuals and have aspirations for a brighter future. I feel that my self-esteem is restored and I'm confident and can do everything what I want.
Amazingly well already, and I'm really interested to know that when learning gets challenging, when it gets tough, what's your big motivation for keeping on going?
Okay. I believe that learning should never stop. Then there is no limit of what we can learn. The only limit is our own self, and I always try to find a ways of to solve the problems or overcome any challenges. Okay, and my biggest motivation is my family, but also all of my tutors of adult education, Wolverhampton, especially Kate. They are my biggest sources of inspirations and my strongest supports. Learning has given me the opportunity. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
No, you're doing really well.
They're giving me the opportunity to grow my self-confidence and allows me to expand further. Okay. And finally, I would like to say I believe that there is nothing more empowering than living a life with no regrets. Sorry. I'm so nervous.
Thank you. Follow that. That's my tough task now. An amazing story. I think in an attempt to look vaguely educated, I found a quote the other day from the US president, and don't worry, it's not the current one. The two halves of that sentence, anyway. But so Lyndon Johnson, who took over from JFK and sort of Great Society and all that sort of stuff, he said, we must open the doors of opportunity, but we must also equip people to walk through them. And actually that's what education does, and that's what learning does, and that's what that story is all about, and so many of the stories that we've heard as well. So we're about halfway through the awards. I've just remembered that this lectern is on wheels, and therefore if I lean on it, I'm going to go into the front row. So I'd also like to warn the front row. It's not the kind of crowd surfing I was aiming for. We'll do that at the end. No. So about halfway through the awards, and Maggie mentioned how tough it was for our national selection panel to pick just a single award winner for each of the awards that we have. Hundreds of really brilliant nominations. And in fact, it was so tough, we couldn't limit ourselves to just the categories that we had. and we decided that we had to identify a number of finalists as well, who the judges on that selection panel thought were just really particularly outstanding, and we couldn't, and we had to make sure that we recognised that outstanding achievement as well. So there were 6 finalists, and in a moment I'm going to invite them up one by one onto the stage. So this does mean, I'm going to forewarn you now, this means you've got a lot of clapping to do, all in one go, because we've got 6 to get through, but I'm sure you can manage to do that. So when I introduce you, if I can ask you to come up to the stage, and we'll have a photograph there as well. And please do carry on applauding, as I say, as well. So our first finalist is Ashley Emerson, who completed a Level 2 Business Admin apprenticeship, went on to Bolton College, and has now started a degree apprenticeship at Stateside Foods. So please congratulate Ashley. I told you there was a lot of clapping to do. So our second finalist was Daci Mikasiti, who's from Latvia. Now, she's deaf, became competent in British Sign Language, and is now studying at the Centre for Deaf Education at City Lit to continue to improve her English. So congratulations, Daci. There you go. I tried to learn some very basic sign language, and it was really basic, and I'm also worried I'm going to accidentally swear at you all. But I think hello, congratulations is... There we go. I'm going to take that as polite acceptance of my failing sign language. Our third finalist is Julie Redpath, who began learning at East Riding of Yorkshire Council's Building Better Opportunities programme, and has now gone on to support others in her community to learn and to find work as well. Congratulations, Julie. I think pretty soon there'll be more people on the stage than there were left in the audience, but three more to go. So our next finalist is Carl Anthony, who was left unable to walk unaided by a motorcycle accident, but went on to go through rehabilitation and become a qualified personal trainer, so he could help others with their recovery, and he's now studying at university for a sports therapy degree. Our fifth finalist is Sylvia Rowbottom, who began attending poetry classes at City Lit in 1999. It says what her age was at that time, but I'm not going to give it away. I think that would be impolite. I don't know why that's been put in my briefing. So she continues to attend those poetry classes at City Lit every week, and her work's been published in a number of poetry journals as well. So congratulations, Sylvia. Right, and last but not least, our last finalist is VoiceBox Cafes, which took an innovative approach to supporting young women to explore democracy and to deliver change in their communities to mark the 100th anniversary of the expansion of the franchise and to take part in UK democracy. So VoiceBox Cafes. Thought I was going to have a stage invader there. Right, okay, so on to our next award, which is all about returning to learning. I think a lot of the examples today have been about that, but we wanted to specifically recognise this, and there were a lot of different types of return to learning that we saw through the nominations. And I think there can't be probably a better organisation to be supporting this than City Lit, given the brilliant work that they do, which you may hear a bit more about in a moment. But they do some amazing work about returning to learning and continuing learning and really making a difference to lots of people's lives. So again, long-standing friends and partners of the Learning and Work Institute and of Festival of Learning, and we're delighted that they're sponsoring this award. And so to introduce it and to present it, I'd like to welcome Mark Malcolmson, who's City Lit's principal, up to the stage. Mark.
Thank you, Stephen. And in a perfect world, this award would not exist, in my view. In a perfect world, people wouldn't return to education because education would be something that they did throughout their lives without stopping, from being a young child to being somebody like Sylvia, who's a grand old age of, can I say it, Sylvia? 91 years old. So... Stephen is a gentleman, but I knew she didn't mind telling you. Returning to learning is something that happens because a lot of people don't get the opportunities to enjoy learning, to take part in learning, to experience learning to its fullest so that it can make them better people and allow them to enjoy a fulfilled life. So the opportunity to come back, as we've seen in a number of the other award winners this evening, means that a whole new life can open to people. And for us at City Lit, as Stephen said, we take great pride that tens of thousands of people a year come back to learning, and they learn in a way that they might never have experienced before. So we are delighted to sponsor this particular award, but in particular, I'd like to acknowledge Stuart, who has won this award. He is somebody that is returning to learning and learning at its finest. Somebody who's taken the challenges in his life and has taken learning to help overcome them and to do something better. And I'd like to show you the video.
I was a child at school who sat at the back and everything went on around. The teachers just wasn't there for me. I couldn't grasp at all the English, where it was coming from, the writing, the letters, the reading. It just wasn't there. I had no encouragement at all. I was belittled. I was below low.
He managed to go to Stockport College to do joinery, and he got through that without much reading and writing, and then he got a job. Stuart's challenge was that he'd got this belief that he was not any good at English or reading and writing, and he'd had a lot of setbacks.
I had to do something. If I wanted to make progress as a site manager in the schools or wherever I was working, I needed more of an English qualification.
I was working at the school where he was, teaching adults English. The deputy head approached me and said, do you think we could do something for Stuart, because he could do a job as a site manager, but he needs to be able to read and write. So I arranged for him to come and have a skills check here at the Oldham Lifelong Learning Centre. Then we put him on a dyslexia support class, and I arranged with his head teacher that he could have time off work.
I was very nervous about doing it, to walk into a room not knowing anybody. I was very, very nervous to walk in, but lifelong learning, the people surround you, there's always a conversation. You're never left out. Since coming to lifelong learning, I've started with Entry 2 functional skills, which I've passed. I'm doing Entry 3 English, next level I'll be English 1. I see a big difference in myself coming forward. My job at the community centre, that's ongoing.
It's a community centre where there is a lot of volunteering going on, and it is a community centre where people are valued. So I think he'll be flourishing there, really, and he'll be doing more and more, and I have a feeling that he wants to pass on his skills as a joiner. His attitude to life's changed. He's just more confident in himself. And because he's had such a good experience of learning, he wants to help other people.
It's like a big circle. The more you learn, the more confidence you get, the more you get to do things. It's a big circle.
Hearty congratulations. Thank you. Now, tell us a little bit how you think you've changed since returning to learning as a person.
My personal confidence has gone through the roof. And that's all down to Oldham Lifelong Learning. Basically, Janet McDowell's team and David Bailey, the lecturer, top notch. Can't fault any of them. But I've got a short story, which is along the lines. My mother's 97 now, and every year Armistice Day comes round. I think I should really do something. I should really trace up her when she was in the baths. And it never happens. This year, I put pen to paper and wrote down to the Ministry of Defence and got a record of when she was in the baths. And that was everything to me.
By the way, if you think people are just walking out as soon as I get up on the stage, it's kind of starting to get a complex. No, they are going to have their photographs taken, I promise. That's what I've been told anyway. Right, so our next award is the Project Award, and there's so many amazing projects and pieces of provision going on across the whole of the country. And this one, the winner today, I think is a brilliant example of that. We were talking about learning for health earlier. I think this project is a great example of the difference that learning can make. In this case, working with lots of other local agencies, supporting people with a range of addictions and mental health issues. So you'll see in the film in a moment, but I think one thing I really want to pick out is that it plays back to what a number of the winners today have said, is about those benefits of learning and about making connections, re-establishing connections in some cases with people, becoming more active, improving their physical health, building confidence. And the phrase that I hear most often that I think comes through this project as well is about opening doors and switching on a light. So it's a brilliant example of the power of learning in conjunction with lots of other local agencies and providers to really make a difference. And we'll watch their video now.
Nurturing recovery is all about encouraging adults to fulfil their full potential, to help them on their road to recovery. Now that could be just to do normal everyday tasks like routine, getting up in the morning, right the way through to going back into employment or even career changes. Bridgewater and Taunton College are offering the facility to gain a qualification in horticulture. We are in partnership with the Carlton Centre and Westcliff House, where the majority of our students come from. We also work with the local council, North Somerset Council, and Prince Consort Park, where we undertake a lot of our activities, in addition to Rector's Way allotments. The beauty of the City and Guilds Level 1 Practical Horticultural Skills course is that it lends itself beautifully to almost every gardening task that you would want to undertake. Being a rolling programme means that the learners can start at any time of the academic year. There are no pressures and no formal classroom assessments. It's a very relaxed teaching environment. There's many different teaching styles that we try to use. Yoga is a natural connection to make, particularly after a gardening session, because they can learn to relax, and it's a skill they can take away with themselves and practice at home in their own time.
I've just completed my diploma, level 1 in practical horticulture.
It's been a big part of my recovery.
It's given me a purpose, you know, it's given me that routine, it's given me that connection back.
Going down to the allotments has helped me within my recovery. It's given me more confidence and a reason and a purpose to get up for the day ahead. They've given me another chance in being a human being, and it's wonderful.
People have moved on to further educational courses. Others have just rebuilt their lives, made stronger family connections, been able to move back home and to develop their self-awareness, their self-esteem, and it's their confidence. It's not just horticulture, it just gives them that stepping stone of self-belief. They can go on and rebuild their lives.
A brilliant project. Please welcome the Nurturing Recovery team. Well, Congratulations. It's a brilliant project, brilliant story. We saw some of those inspirational things in the film there. I mentioned in my introduction how important making connections and partnership working is. Can you maybe just say a little bit about how important those partnerships and partnership working is to nurturing recovery?
I think it's important to remember that a lot of these students haven't been in formal education perhaps for a number of years, and so therefore it's a massive step for them to go onto an educational campus. So in order for us to be able to provide the provision for outreach centres to help them to gain their qualifications, we do need the associations and the partnerships with a lot of external agencies, because not only do they help us provide that provision, but they are there to help support the learners come along and start the journey with us.
And I think it's just worth adding that this is something that anyone can do. You know, it's not, if you engage with your local partners, we can support these people. And I'm pleased to say that over the last 5 years, approximately 150 of our students have gone on to gain gainful employment, either paid or volunteering, and that's really made a difference to their lives.
Congratulations, well done. Okay, our next award is the Social Impact Award. Now, lots of the stories that you've heard today are about learning having a social impact, and so many of the winners that we've had go on to help other people in their families and in their communities as well. But we wanted to specifically and specially recognise through this award somebody who's made a sort of real difference, and that social impact and going above and beyond and outside of that sort of focus on direct learning and courses themselves. And I think in many ways the WEA embody social impact, and so I'm really delighted that the WEA are able to sponsor this award. And I'd like to introduce Ruth Spellman, who, as well as running the WEA, is also on the Learning and Work Institute board, to come and introduce this award. Ruth.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and also really to all of you, because every year when I come to these awards, it's my 5th year on the judging panel, I am struck over and over again by the power that's in this room and of all of the adult learners and the experiences they've had. And why, you know, so many civilized countries across the world invest so heavily in learning at all stages of life. And in some ways we have some catch-up to do given the way resources are constrained at the moment. But it is a basic human instinct, isn't it, all through your life, to have that unsatisfied desire to learn, to prosper, to grow in self-esteem and confidence, and to learn new skills. And what we do at the WEA with 50,000 students every year is build those stories, build that confidence, build that ability to go forth in life and achieve things. And we've been going since 1903, and we have a student base of our age range of 19 to 101. We have disabled students with many kinds of disability, learning disabilities obviously being key, but many other disabilities. And we have a very high percentage of people from the black and ethnic communities right around the UK. We have over 2,000 community locations. We are in the community and we are of the community. And because of that, I think that social impact that Stephen has mentioned is very much augmented. It is about building a network of personal relationships, and those are so important in sustaining learning over a very long period of time. And again, it's not always about the stats, although we can all rehearse them ad nauseum. It's about the impact that it has on personal lives, the transformational impact. You can't go back from having learnt something. It opens doors, it opens eyes, and opens possibilities. So I am really delighted to be here and to be sponsoring this particular award for the 3rd year that I've done so, in the belief that this will encourage and inspire many other learners to tread the same path. Social impact can be measured in so many different ways, as Stephen has said, and some of those appeal to the Treasury and some of them don't. But we know we know what social impact is. It's when you get up in the morning feeling better, when you yourself are an inspiration example to your children, when in your job you're able to work and inspire other people, and when you're reaching other people with the power of learning. That's what social impact actually is. And we started increasingly to think about that over the years and to celebrate it. Now, our winner tonight is somebody called Dr. Peter Shuki of Blackburn College. And what he's done is really use technology, harness technology, to link community organisations and develop community online resources to support learners of very different types. So the social impact that he's achieving is enabling many, many more people within his community to access learning, some of them for the first time since they've left school. He's doing things like a parent's teaching guide, a parent's reading guide, and also a smartphone thinking, things that would enable people to actually really progress in their own individual lives and to become learners in the first place, to be good parents and to be good citizens. And his free platform is already running 50 different communities, which he has managed to create in his own community with the support of that community and individual teachers and learners. So I think, without more ado, we should see the film and then invite Peter back up to the stage. Thank you.
People learn better, and they learn with energy, and they learn with vigour and with excitement and with passion when they know it makes a difference to their lives and their communities' lives. What we need to do is create spaces where people learn and have a great time learning and recognise its importance for them and other people around them. The technology-enhanced learning projects, initially they were very much an idea about how we use technology, but what we've done is make sure that every student that starts that project works in their community. So the first thing they do is not look at technology, it's to look at their community and start a conversation with people that they work with. Some of them have done things that have changed how their communities operate. They've created networks of good news that didn't exist in places of very negative, bad news in a particular community. We've had parents involved where the student has gone and worked with other people they know are parents of young children, and they've created courses so that parents can learn how to teach literacy to the children that they have in school.
Everything that it does, there's always that element of how can you reach somebody, how can somebody else achieve what they want to achieve, what can he do to help them. A massive part of that is him creating COOCs, which is community open online courses. By him creating that, he's actually took what he does here in this classroom, but it's now available worldwide.
In essence, I suppose what it is, it's a free place that anyone at all can create courses. You don't need to be an educator in any traditional or formal sense. If you sign up and register, you can create courses. And what those courses are is down to you. COOCs allows courses that are temporary and responsive to a single event. It acts as a bridge between community and institutions. It supports organisations that are perhaps not large enough to have their own online presence for things like learning and development. Because it's non-institutional, it acts as a developmental space, a sandpit, a place to play around with ideas and grow new ideas and new ways of teaching.
He wants you to jump up alongside him, and that's the difference, I think, in his classes, is that you are a part of the teaching, you're not just being taught at.
fantastic. And I love the idea of the sandpit where you can be creative and innovative, because it's not rolling it out like pastry, is it? It's coming up with new solutions and building it on people's ideas. So, Peter, can you tell me, what have you learned personally? And what has come out of this, which for you could be replicated in other areas? I think the clue's in the film, but how can we get involved?
Well, I think the thing I've learned and how people can get involved, it's the same thing. What we've found out is, because I didn't build any of those courses that you mentioned. They're all there and they're on the platform, but people built them. And the ethos of the whole Cooks thing is everybody can teach and everybody can learn. And, you know, I mean, you say that at the beginning and you don't know if it's true, but actually it's truer than you ever know. And so, you know, how can we all get involved? We can create courses. Using Cooks is one thing, it's nice, and I'd love it if people used it, but I really don't care as long as you're doing that teaching in different ways. And when people teach something, I think they feel different about themselves and they behave in different ways and they look at themselves differently. And I think it's just a brilliant way of engaging and making things happen.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Okay, so we just have 3 more awards to go. Do you think you've got enough rounds of applause left within you? Yes, starting to fade a bit there. Okay, but they're 3 great awards, so I'm sure they'll inspire you just as much as the previous ones has as well. I'm getting my steps in up and down that step as well. It's kind of anyway. So the next award is the New Directions Award, and we're really delighted that this is sponsored by the Skills in Education Group, which is all about new directions and social mobility and making a difference and making a change in your life. That's the focus of this award. That's what I think Skills in Education Group do every day. And so I'd like to invite Paul Eales up to introduce the award and the award winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Skills in Education Group, we are delighted to be sponsoring this New Directions Award. The Skills in Education Group brings together more than 100 years of collective experience. We create opportunities to develop, inform, influence and represent the wider education and skills sector through our membership offer, awarding body brands, ABC Awards, CERTA Awards and CERTA Access. As an educational charity, we want all learners to achieve their full potential, no matter what their age, background or ability. We do this by supporting the development and delivery of education and skills providers, as well as providing high-quality qualifications, assessment and access to HE diplomas. We care passionately about advancing the lives of individuals through skills and education. It is therefore an absolute pleasure to be sponsoring this new award. Adult education transforms lives, tackles social mobility and helps communities and the economy thrive. I'm delighted to introduce the film of this year's New Directions Award winner, Vicky, and her very inspirational story.
Anxiety is awful. I don't think there's one bit of your life that it doesn't affect. Before I did the learning, life was pretty much just the kids and being a stay-at-home mum, and there was nothing really outside of that. I didn't socialise or do any learning or anything like that. I needed something to change. Something had to change. We'd lived so long under this dark anxiety cloud and nothing changes and it all just gets so stagnant.
I was letting all the parents know about the courses that we offer here, and Vicky had so many questions when I was talking to her about the StorySack course. I thought, here's somebody here who really is committed to helping her children learn. Vicky really started gaining confidence, and then gradually you could see another Vicky coming out.
I loved StorySacks, learning with the children and seeing their enthusiasm over this new book, that they could then create something that was quite interactive and tactile. It was really fun for all of us and just nice time together as a family learning. All the courses, they fit around the school times. Obviously the creche was here and I knew some of the people, so it was kind of like a gentle introduction back into learning and socialising again.
I was just blown away by her conviction and determination on her learning journey that she started with us and Kent Adult Ed. She's moved on from being very, very anxious to being able to cope with any anxieties that are thrown her way, and that's meant she's able to go to university to pursue her dreams of becoming a midwife.
I've always wanted to be a midwife. I was very lucky that I was one of these people that just knew I wanted to do it. I'm excited for the next year of my degree, to finish that and to get a job doing something I've always wanted to do. The learning, all of it, everything has led me to where I am now. I can confidently go to uni and confidently sit in lectures or put in exams or do essays and stuff and not doubt myself all the time, have that confidence. I'm on that path to where I want to be in my life and showing my children that we can learn and we can work together and get where we need to be.
Congratulations. Can you tell us how your learning journey has made a difference to you and your family?
I think it's really difficult to measure things like that. When you're stuck in such a dark place, you don't realise how much changes until it's changed. It's changed so much for us. My children now have such a healthier relationship with education and they're proud of me and seeing me make a difference, and now they think they can too. I'm just so incredibly grateful for the support and the confidence in me, and now I can give that to other people too. So it's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and congratulations to Vicky. So our next award is the Outstanding Individual Learner Award. Now, I think all of the individuals who've got awards today are outstanding, but I think Diana's story, which you'll hear about in a second, really shone through and stood out to the judging panel when selecting this example. And it's another example, really, of engaging in learning, making a difference to your own life, but then making a difference to other people's lives and passing that on, and learning becoming a virtuous circle. So Diana is a really well-deserved award winner, and I'm sure you'll agree when you see her video now.
So first things first, we've got our lenses here, eyepieces rather.
I've had a few challenging experiences growing up as a child, and that's really motivated me to be the best version of myself I could possibly be. Being in care, I've moved around quite a lot, so that means that I've moved schools quite often. So often that affects my performance and it knocked my confidence a bit, personally and with education as well. I've always been interested in biology, chemistry and physics, so I enjoy my medical science course, especially the chemistry module, as that's my strong point. I think education's been a way out of the challenging experiences that I've had. I'm hoping to go on to work with children. I'd like to specialise in paediatrics, possibly in future be a surgeon.
When I got into university, I felt really happy because I'm getting closer to what I want to be in the future. I can play the piano, flute, guitar, saxophone and the clarinet. When I'm playing my piano, it takes my mind off things. I've taken part in the Thurrock Youth Orchestra. It makes me feel like I'm part of something, like I belong somewhere.
Learning is something that has kind of held her together and has always been there for her when things haven't been going so well in her personal life. When I first met Diana, she came to one of our welcome meetings. She was quite quiet. She's definitely become much more confident, much more chatty. She's demonstrated that she cares about other people, so despite having difficult times herself, she's always gone out of her way to put an effort in to support other people who are disadvantaged.
I volunteer at Childline to help children that have been in my position. I'm an NSPCC ambassador. We have meetings and we discuss how we can improve the NSPCC and improve the outcomes for children and service users.
I think she'll always be looking for new opportunities to learn different things, not only academic things, but new skills.
I like climbing because it's a bit of a challenge. I think climbing's good for my headspace because it takes my mind off things and distracts me from everything that's going on around me. I'd like to be a good role model for other care experienced children and adults because I don't think a lot of children in care have someone to look up to. Only 5% of children in care go to uni for a start, 20% drop out. I think I am a role model simply by being in education. I believe other care leavers can learn from my journey by just believing in themselves and getting out and doing it.
Huge congratulations to Diana. Very well-deserved award, I'm sure you will all agree. And we're now, unfortunately, on to the last award of the day. But the good news is that there are drinks downstairs afterwards. So no pressure on the next award winners, actually, with their speeches. Our last award is our President's Award, which is selected by the President of the Learning and Work Institute, Nick Stewart. And I would like to say on a personal note that I think this is a really well-deserved award for a fantastic organisation that continues to do amazing work. But I will let Nick come to the stage to introduce it properly.
Well, I hope you've all had a wonderful day, because I tell you, I have. Been quite amazing. I've got a 2-year-old, well, she's not quite 2, she's 2 on Thursday, and her very first word sums up how I feel. Her first word was, wow! It's the highlight of the year for me. The president of the Institute really doesn't get to do a lot. I'm less of a workhorse now, much more of a kind of decorative item. A home of learning for over 1 million Londoners over 100 years. It started in Fetter Lane in 1919 with just 180 students, and now it takes in over 30,000 every year. You really can learn almost anything in the City Lit. That's what you'll hear in a minute. With over 1,000 really talented teachers, City Lit is an inspiring centre of learning, one of London's greatest cultural assets, a community that helps themselves and help other people and help each other to thrive and to grow. Now, they're much better at telling their own story than I am. They are really fitting winners of this year's award, so watch this film.
City Lit represents the best of Londoners. It's about sharing, it's about education, it's about community. It's values that really are relevant to today's society and have been for 100 years. City Lit was founded in 1919, exactly 100 years ago, as a product really of the end of the First World War. One of the first courses we ran was for soldiers returning from the First World War in lip reading to help them get through the fact that they'd been deafened by shell fire. Even at the worst times, particularly in the Blitz, we've stayed open. We used to roll one of our pianos down to the tube every night during the Second World War. We've still been part of a community and made sure that we contribute to that community. At City Lit, you can learn pretty much anything. We're constantly changing the curriculum to make sure it stays relevant and interesting. We have people getting together and their learning is cumulative and collective rather than individual. Education constantly needs to adapt. You're looking back to our heritage and the huge positive work that we've done over the last century, but we're only as relevant as the students who come through our doors today and tomorrow. I think the great strength of City Lit is the expertise of our teachers. We've got over 1,000 teachers who really do know their subject. They're also expert in teaching adults and bringing together a community of learners who are really interested in what they're doing. We've really worked out how best to get tutors to impart their knowledge, but also to create an environment in the class where people will learn from each other as well as learning from the person who's leading the class.
I think it's a unique institution. You can do almost anything you want to here, so it embraces every sort of genre and person, you know, and it's a good place for them to come to. A sense of feeling you're in the right place.
Our purpose is bringing people together to enrich lives through learning, and I think City Lit's managed to really put people in the centre of everything we do.
100 years. So in the next 100 years of adult education provision, what are your priorities?
Thanks, Nick. And well, apart from trying to recreate the scene from the Game of Thrones with the amount of cast we've got here, what I wanted to do is just exemplify what's best about this institution I have the honour of representing, and it really is an honour. We have learners, we have tutors, we have interpreters. We are only as relevant, as I'd said in the film, as we are today and tomorrow. We've got to keep changing, we've got to keep adapting. Adult education is radically different from the way it was in 1919. It was radically different from the way it was in 1989. If we don't change, if we don't continue our relevance to everyday lives of our learners and society as a whole, then we cease to exist, and we should cease to exist. It's important that we continue, and everybody in this room continues to do what they do and continues to up the bar and make sure that we're important for the future of Britain.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Yeah.
Right, congratulations to CityLit and thank you to Nick. And I can confirm that whenever Nick sees one of the board papers I've written for the Learning and Work Institute board, his first word is often wow. And sometimes in a good way. Do our best. So that's the end of the awards. I'm really grateful to all of the award winners for sharing their amazing stories today and through those videos. Also to everybody who nominated them, and we will be opening nominations for 2020 later this year. Don't want to think about that at the minute, but please don't forget to nominate when we come to next year. A really big thank you as well to our British Sign Language interpreters, Charmaine and Alison, and also to our speech-to-text reporter, Amanda. Who's had the frankly baffling task of trying to work out what I'm trying to say. So thank you for that. I am going to ask all of the award winners to please just stay behind in a moment for a photograph up on the stage here. I promise you there will still be drinks left by the time that you leave. But please, if all the award winners could stay and come up to the stage. In the meantime, I hope today has been a brilliant celebration of some amazing stories and some amazing winners. Please do go and share those more widely. All those videos are up on our website, so do go and share them. I hope they inspire you. I hope they inspire others. And I hope that we can continue to tell the story of why learning makes a difference and why learning matters and why we need to make an adult learning revolution in this country. So lastly, before I release you through those doors, could you also say a massive thank you to the Learning and Work Institute team who've worked for many, many months to make this day happen, never mind all the rest of it, and have worked so hard, and also give a big round of applause at the same time to all of our brilliant winners. Thank you. So that was my big finish, except I forgot to say you can go downstairs for the drinks now.